What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Oxygen Not Included Season 2. So hopefully we'll get a bit more done this episode, more exciting than digging holes like last episode. The first thing I'm noticing straight away is that the water tank in the centre is almost out. So I seriously need to get some more water into our system, preferably clean. The water we get from that top geyser area that we were talking about last episode is just not enough. Although it's potentially infinite, it's not enough. So over here on this right hand side, I am going to put down 2, 4, whatever it may be, sieves. There is 2 sets of water sources over there to the right that you can see. In fact, both of them already have pumps in because I did that, but never actually got round to setting them up, or at least powering them. So as well as digging out that liquid to get it out of my way, at the same time it will also give us fresh water to go into the base. And it's not a ridiculous temperature either, so it should be pretty comfortable within the base. Okay, so that's coming along nicely now, and I have put in the power cables for the pumps. You can see that one there on screen is working already, and the one up top needs... I'm not sure. Oh, that corner up there, yeah. They can't quite reach it. Now, normally I wouldn't let them go into this area because, 1, it's hot, 2, it's not the best of sealed doors. It's not the self-sealing, so it will let the gases through when the door opens, but just to quickly fix that won't be a problem. As soon as it's up and running, we should have 2 pump lots of water, clean water going in there. I'll get somebody to mop out that dirty bit. Luckily, they don't mix, which is very helpful. And then get these powered up. I'm going to need to do them on a separate line, I expect. But once that's up and running, we should get some water in pretty sharpish. In fact, we'll probably get too much no matter what. Okay, a bit of jiggery pokery there with the power cables once again because we are overloading, and you can see they're working nicely. So both throwing out clean water. That clean water converges and goes into the clean water tank. Obviously, the pump at the bottom is what's the important part. That's keeping the sinks, showers, toilets, etc. running, and the research. The top picture, it hasn't been running for a while and I haven't seen any issues, so I'm not too worried about that. We do need to get over to this right hand side soon, but we've only just about finished and got the gas coming out of the left, so I'm going to get rid of the waters first, or the fluids anyway. So building over here to the right, I am going to then dig straight up and take that pool of water. It should fall down into this one and allow us to do 2 birds, 1 stone. I think above that pool of water there's another little bit as well, so I'll get that joined as well. Bit of ladders, scaffolding to get up into that area, and then we can of course get it all to drop into one area, which is just there where the pump is, and then it just makes it easier because you can dig with the water, but then everybody just moans about having soggy feet, etc., and it falls in all sorts of weird places. So if we can get rid of the liquid first, and plus we need it anyway for the base, and then I'll do a mass delete on the right hand side as well, like on the left. Okay, so I'm ripping out the coal power because the power from the thermal is working nicely. Now, it turns out it's not actually enough to run the base permanently, but coal power is no longer an option for us. We do have some coal stored, quite a bit actually, 43 tons, but I want to go elsewhere. So if I clear out all of this area, and what I'm actually going to do is upgrade to a better source. We have lots of natural gas, not only floating around the base, but in storage. In fact, we have 2 tanks for the natural gas storage, and they're nearly full from that one geyser. So what I'll do is in that top area, I will set up some natural gas generators with automation so that they're only used when we need more power and the thermal is the main power. And I'll also put more batteries down to have a better delay over when they're on and off. Natural gas power creates carbon dioxide, which is not a problem because that's a thing in this room already, and I'll just set up a pump to get rid of that if it gets too high. And it creates polluted water, which is even better for us, so I'll replace the floors for mesh tiles, and the idea is all of that liquid will fall to the bottom, and then I can put a pump down there to collect it, and again we get free water then once it's been cleaned. So of course, to run the plant, you can see that tank is full, and then that's the one above it is half full, and that is around 7,500 kilos of gas, which is a lot. And there's more coming in all the time because of that geyser, so that's good. It's a good geyser to have. So all I'm going to do is plumb over here, and that will take this gas out of the tank and use it for these 4 generators that we have. I'm not sure if I push it to 5. Nice and simple setup, nothing to worry about really. Again, this area isn't supposed to be permanent, but for now it works, and I've got other things to get on board with. The space and gases that we're getting are one item. The food should be sorted soon with an extension to the farms. This episode, likely you will see that. This is sorting out the power, and then we just need to sort out oxygen, which I'll probably use. Electrolysis is the best way now we have a decent source of water. Once the basics are sorted, and they are all the basics that I care about for now, we will then go into hard research and get some probably critter farms and look at space and maybe go into the second asteroid. So jumping forward a bit, that's pretty much how I want it to be. Bottom left hand corner you can see that pump that's set with a pressure valve, and above it there is a vent that releases the carbon dioxide from the generators when they're running directly onto that pump. I have put in the power control plant to get them upgraded if they're upgradable. The room though currently is too small. However, it doesn't matter because all I need to do is patch up where that pipe is and that ladder is, and it will work nicely as a power plant. So far they haven't upgraded them. I'm not sure if it's a thing or if they just can't be upgraded. I would like to get as much efficiency out of them as possible, but it depends. At the very bottom you can see that the liquid is being stored as the plan was, and a pump down there, but I'm not going to get that wide up until plumbed in, sorry, until I need to. In the middle, that is the storage for the carbon dioxide to stop it over pressurizing the room, so that the duplicates can go in there safely without losing or without getting popped eardrum and various other things, and also without it just causing havoc across the base generally. Okay, so next project, while that is finished up now, and you can see the batteries are charging down, and then they'll, as soon as they run out, they'll kick in the natural gas generators and quite quickly fill up. Here I am going to build farms, and then where these farms are, specifically the ones, the top 3, I'm going to rip those out and use them for other rooms. I'm not sure what yet. Probably a hospital would be nice, just to make sure people can get rid of their coals and slime lung, etc. Because I am putting them through quite a lot. And instead, I'm going to make the size that you can see here is actually what the size of the farms will be, and there will be 4 levels. So much more in terms of nutrients than what we had before. A lot of alerts going off, and unfortunately I do miss a trick here. Somebody is trapped and I don't realise it, and I'm pretty sure this is quite close to where I actually kill the first and hopefully only duplicate of the game. You can see he's there. Rowan is it, and he's trying to get somewhere. He's exhausted, sore back. I'm trying to break open so he can get out, but unfortunately, nothing is done quick enough, and yes, Rowan actually does die. And there we go. Unfortunately, that is the first death of the series. Hopefully the last. My bad. Apologies and all that, but it's done now. I will need to get some graves. I'll chuck them nice. Make them out of some nice rock, actually, to make sure they're happy when they go and say their goodbyes. In the meantime, we'll carry on building the farm, and I want an entrance here where I've made the hole, which was the hole I was trying to save him with, but didn't happen quick enough. And then that's the only way in, and then they'll just have the 4 floors that they'll have to build up to. I'm surrounding it with insulation tiles for the temperature, just so no matter what goes on, there should always be a decent growing temperature in there, or at least I can manage it better without outside sources causing me issues. Jumped ahead there for your entertainment. You can see that's now finished. It's not really that exciting to build right, it's just time. And then I've done the tiles behind it as well, just to make it look prettier. Oxygen in there at the minute. I'm not too worried about what gas there is. They can survive with all gases. They don't need a liquid either. These 2 floors then, well, there was 3. The The top one I've already turned into an extra bedroom because I believe I was struggling for beds. Not sure. I need to actually do some math and figure out what I'm actually doing with the bedrooms. But until then, this is what we have. Them 2 floors that are remaining, I am then going to use for a hospital, just to make sure that the ailments that they do have, and I can see on the stats of the UI, there are 4 duplicants that have an illness at the minute, that we can get those sorted. Now, in terms of the mod to move things around, I have now established how that works. You actually have to build the moving statues, and I'll do that in a bit more detail when I actually do a move and explain it better. But before, you had to basically click on the thing you wanted to move, and it gave you a trophy. You move that trophy to where you wanted to move it to, and then it was done. The way it works now is you have to build a trophy with resources and then select what building you want to move to it, and it uses steel to do so. We don't have steel yet, so that's why I'm not going too deep into it at the minute. You can see though the power room is working nicely. Although I still can't get them to upgrade these, and I'm not entirely sure why they're so cold, it's working, and the batteries are remaining full for quite some time. They are draining slowly without the natural gas, but it is very slowly. And then when they run out, it just boosts them with the natural gas and rinse and repeat. So no coal required at the minute. We're using heat and natural gas. Both things are very, very potent on this planet currently, or this asteroid. Okay, so next project is finishing off the top of the base. We already cleared it out, and I capped off that left-hand side. This centre was already low in gas anyway. So actually, popping the cork on the top of the base and letting that oxygen rush in should be okay. And I've done that now. So what I'll do is quickly build up, making sure the first thing to do is the insulation around the outside, followed by the brick inside just for the beauty level. And then we'll see what buildings we need before I actually use them. The top likely will be some more industrial, but there is a huge issue. As you can see, the base up here is quite cold. Now, although it looked bad there where it was all blue, it's around 10 to 15 degrees, so it is cold, but it's not negatives or anything. So I'll get the obvious things in, and that is the ladders and the poles, and then we'll get the structure built that's going to be around that. Something like that, which is basically just a, well, it is an exact repeat of what we've done throughout the whole thing. So I believe I do zoom out at some point in the near future, and you will see it's basically just a repetitive stack type skyscraper build. I'm going to immediately put in the air blocks as well, because I normally do them after the fact, but I've remembered this time, so that's good. And they'll allow all the carbon dioxide to fall down. I can't do it here because I'm not going to break into the research room for the specific reason that that is a radioactive room, and I don't want that radiation to go where I don't want it. So this will allow the oxygen to flow as long as we keep our oxygen up. We are showing that we've got no algae again, so I can dig some out on the right hand side. Not an issue at the minute. If you look at the temperature, you can see there is some significant issues there. Now, as we build, the resources we put in for the brick and the vents, etc., we'll be using materials with a higher temperature, so that should help heat up the area. If it doesn't, I will just put some heaters in and get that to a reasonable temperature, around 20 degrees. The pressure from this now, because it's backed up, is breaking these bricks. Luckily, due to the mechanics of the game, though, the liquid and the air tiles don't take damage, and that's how you make infinite storage. The reason it has backed up is because something broke here, and I've got no idea what. So apparently the water is too hot. The pump, even though it should be running, isn't. So I am not sure why it wasn't working, but what I do know is after a few clicks on various different things, it just started working again. Yeah, like that. Not sure why. It wasn't broken, but now it is too hot. It's 85 degrees, which is the maximum the heater will go up to. It's far too hot, though. I only wanted it like 20, but what will happen is as it gets drained out and the cold comes in from the opposite side, it will sort itself out. It just means we'll probably have too much liquid, or too warm of a liquid, in the base. I am going to chuck in some radiant pipes just here, though, to help heat up this area that's been cooled over the time that we've been sending down the cold waters, and I can replace them at a later date. I just want to get the base to look at least green, no blue, and then I'll let it settle on its own. From the beginning of the episode where we had no water to now we have too much, as I said would happen. So what I'm going to do is build air tiles across the top here to stop it from popping the cork and overflowing into the base. And then I will build a backup, and by backup I mean a water tank to take the excess. I don't want to stop the process because clean water is the main resource we want. Polluted water is only really useful for keeping the reeds growing, and to be honest, I've got plenty of reeds already to make any paintings or clothes I need to. So I can shut that farm down if I wanted. Pull out this pump jack so that we can put in the air tiles there, and again the air tiles won't take any damage from the water pressure. The brick will over time, but I'm not going to allow it to stay that high for much longer. Also, the actual outlet you can see is already blocked by the pressure, so it doesn't look as if it will overpressure the tank. I just don't want it to come over the top and then fall and make a right mess all over the base. Okay, so nice and cheesy, I'm just going to put these right below here. It's not a permanent fixture, and to be honest, we're going to make some nice big water tanks for both of the clean and dirty water, hopefully, outside of the base once I get the chance to, and then these floors will be replaced by just central columns. So down there is a set of 3 water tanks, which should last a very long time for the water, and it's just for the water that's being pulled from the right hand side of the map where we was clearing it out, just to stop that from stopping. I want that water gone so that we can dig all of the resources out. Now, the other water that's coming in and being cleaned is coming from the dirty water storage, which isn't overflowing, so I'm not worried about that. So you can see I'm just clearing up. All of this water that we set up has fell as required. You always get those dregs that just stay there annoyingly, so I'll get those mopped up, and we do, of course, have a bottle emptier for all of that. That left-hand side is looking good now in terms of gases. Most of it has been collected. There is the fire fossil to do. It's not called that. It's called preserved or something similar. Prehistoric, I can't remember. But you can see the gas is being cleared out nicely, and we've still only filled up half of the tanks. So there's 3 tanks per pump, and we've only used half of one so far. So as I said, I severely underestimated the amount of gas that was there. The farm is working, plenty of grubs for us to eat to keep the food going. It's probably not the best food, but until I've got the resources to make fancy farms with chlorine and the various other things that we need, they'll live. As long as they're not going to die from starvation, it doesn't matter. And then, of course, the hospital that I said in these 2 here. Now, as long as you don't oversize the room, which I think is 128 tiles off the top of my head, though I might have made that up, you can squeeze it in. I don't think a toilet is needed for the hospital. You just need a sink, but I didn't know that when I started, so I got it the wrong way around. So quickly just throw this together and then realise it won't work. What I want to do is take out that centre tile so that both floors become one large room, because I want as many beds as possible and all of them to have the buff of the hospital, which is quicker recovery time. So upon realising that, because it does tell you on the room's UI, I've put in the sink on the top floor. Yes, they won't use it on the bottom floor, but to be honest, I don't think it matters. Again, it's not the hardest setting where the germs are going to actually kill people unless they wash their hands, and you need to use hand sanitizers everywhere. So it does say you need at least 1 decor item, so I've chucked in 4 paintings. As soon as one of them paintings is finished, it should go orangey red to say is now a hospital, because everything, there you go, orangey, maybe pinky red, anyway. That would do for me, I think, though there is an extra mess table there, and yes, I can chuck in an extra bed as well. So if I wipe out that, there we go, I did it anyway, I must have clicked it before I started speaking. So that will give us 5 beds for the hospital, a toilet and a sink, though they are on separate floors, with 2 mess tables, which I don't mind. It's the buff that I want, not necessarily the comfort. It needs wallpapering, which we can get to ASAP. It makes a horrible noise, as you know. But before I do that, there is the old pipes that were left over from the previous farms I need to rip out. And then once they're ripped out, I can plumb in the toilet and the sink. Then I'll build the wallpaper and the hospital is done. We are at time now though, so I'm going to end it here. So thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, please click like. Any comments are welcome as always. Subscribe for more. Join us on Discord. Take care. Goodbye.